One day, we'll be looking back on this and we'll say, aren't you happy that we did it our way? Everyone we knew was saying no way, but we were never listening anyway. So don't be just standing in the doorway. Don't you know we gotta hit the highway? Darling, this is gonna be a good day. And I've gotta say that I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. One day, I'll be looking back on this and I'll say, I'm so happy that you said you would stay. There were times I know that I was crazy, fraying at the edges and you saved me. I'm losing count of chances that you gave me. You're laughing at me dancing really badly and telling me the reasons why you'd gladly do it all again. Cause I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Oh, I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Well, hey, words can never adequately convey everything you're giving to me today. But holding you is better than a holiday, and leaving you, I dread it like exam day. So at the risk of sounding kinda risque, everything to now has been the foreplay. Darling, I would follow you to Norway, or anywhere you want it. Cause I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Oh, I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. But you're amazing. You're amazing. Oh, I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Oh, I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Oh, I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. One day, when we're getting wrinkly and our hair's grey, a rusty old banger in the driveway, one of us will maybe wear a toupee, but I will be in love with you.
Woo! Good afternoon, everybody. Now, you might have noticed that maybe I did something with my hair, or I had my nails done. Oh my God, you guys are so smart. I know I'm not Laurie, but I am here today because I spoke with Laurie over the weekend, and she is an incredible mastermind today. And she had a clash with this, and I said, Laurie, would it be okay if I took the lesson today? And she didn't want to do it because she wanted to make sure that you guys are taken care of. And I said, I promise I will be gentle and I will be thoughtful and I will be kind. And if I do that, please, 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 could I take the lesson today? And she said, you got to ask the team as well. So please, 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 guys, is it okay if I take the lesson today? Is that cool with you guys? Amazing. So guys, come off mute. Let's just come off mute and let's see how we all are. How's everybody feeling today?
Good.
Fantastic. Who's feeling a little bit nervous about next week?
Yeah.
A little bit, maybe?
Oh, is people speaking next week?
Yeah, so we have got week 3/7 today. So for you, Jay, that's week.
I got a few more weeks before I get nervous. Huh?
You got a few more weeks. Now, guess what, guys? You don't have to get nervous, right? Because you can choose to get excited. Hey, Rebecca, instead of getting nervous. And I think I think I've said this before. I'm sure Laurie said it before. The brain doesn't really know the difference between nervous and excited. So you can decide to be excited, and actually, it's a lot easier to go from being nervous to go to excited. Um, if you say, "Oh my God, I'm so nervous, I got to calm down," that's a big emotional reach, right? So it's much easier to go from feeling nervous to feeling excited. So, hey Neil, sir, how are you? I was just explaining how you've probably noticed there's something different about me today. I'm not Laurie, but Laurie is at a big mastermind. So I asked if I could take the session today. I hope that's okay with you too. Everyone's good so far. And so why don't we start with who has something we can celebrate? Who would love to share something that they're celebrating that we can celebrate too?
I would.
Oh, sure. Jay, go ahead.
Yeah, so this weekend I was invited to participate in this weekend conference, and so I got to speak a couple of times and integrating my personal story plus the story with my uncle Gerard, who's my favorite person, who was 8 years older than me, had Down syndrome, but was like the freest person, the most successful person I had ever met. And so I used that to speak about identity and what do we allow to source, how we view ourselves, and it went over really well. When people ended with feedback, um, is that me? Several, just several mentioned different parts of the thing I shared and just how that spoke to them. And for some, I was speaking what they were already thinking and questions they were already asking, and for others, it was new, some new things. So it was really good. And so I've always used word pictures when I've spoken, but using the aim, and then as far as I've gotten in the videos, because I haven't gotten through them all, but putting those into practice, I think kind of helps streamline, some things in regards to the story. And so it ended up being very, very effective. So I'm really happy about that.
Beautiful. What an amazing share, Jay. I'm curious, who here learned something about Jay just from that little share that he shared with us? Okay, what did you learn? Just drop it in the chat. What did you learn about Jay that you didn't know already?
Um,
Or you can come off mute if you like. We're all friends here. Oh, I'm in the wrong chat. There we go. Carolyn.
Good morning, everybody.
Carolyn,
Yes, can you hear me?
we can hear you.
Okay, super. Hi, Jay.
Hey, Caroline.
I I got your essence today, which I've never gotten. And I think I've been in classes with you even in Mastermind, I think. And
Yes,
yeah,
haven't
and
been in a while.
from maybe a year ago. But today I got your essence. I got what you do, who you are, which was really cool for me. So I feel like I know you better. I've been hanging out kind of with you for about a year and a half, but now I feel like I know you better, and I feel a more intimacy with you, and it's a really good feeling.
That's surprising because I didn't think that was a really deep share. So that's
It was a
very
share.
surprising.
It was more than I had from you before. So it was
Wow.
information I didn't know about you, and then you brought in your cousin, and then you said you had two, and it was just lots of little tidbits that I just weave together to create more of what I know about you. I create a little scene of what you are.
Beautiful.
You want
Who else has something they would love to share that they learned from Jay during just that little piece that he did? Nilsa.
Yes, when he was speaking, he said something that caught my attention. When he was speaking to the audience, what are the people are thinking and what he's saying, or they're asking the question. And if they're not, now they're gonna be thinking about what he said. So I thought that framework was interesting because last night I was in a master class and they were talking about when we speak to the audience, we have to use the so what, or can my grandmother understand what I'm saying? So I sort of like, I have that in my head from last night. And when I heard Jay speak, I was able to follow him, like if I was the grandma listening to what he was saying. So that was awesome. There was a lot of specificity and clarity in what he said.
Yeah, I love that. Marie, I think you had your hand up first, and then I'll come to you, Debbie.
I mean, not that much. I mean, after I spoke, I could relate about Jay because of his work in missions. And that shows a very empathetic person, a very spiritual person. But then you sharing about now your family, and that was kind of like, I'm starting to get more of a round view of you. So thank you so much. And I'm glad you braved up to talk.
Okay, Debbie.
Oh, I can relate to what you're saying, Jay, because doing this talk, I have a feeling you're giving more and you're getting more comfortable with yourself. You're like, look, this is who I am, and take it or leave it, but I'm doing this because I want to tell you this, and I don't have to reach everybody, but this is me. That's what I felt. That came. I really felt that. Like you're showing more of yourself every time. Yeah.
And how does that feel, Jay, to get that feedback? Because I know from our conversation, like you were just sharing that with like, oh, here's just a little something, but you gave so much in such a short space of time.
No, it's amazing feedback, and it just shows the value of this course and the power. And like I said, I've used word pictures before, but yeah, I think they're right. I think that and sometimes we can hide behind stories. We use the word pictures, but in the way that we've been being taught, I think you're absolutely right that that I am giving more of myself and revealing more of myself, and it's amazing that in that little bit that how much of that came through. So I'm really shocked. I'm really like in a really good way though, in a really good way, because that's yeah, that's what I want.
Beautiful. Hey, Rob, welcome to the call, my friend. You may notice I'm not Laurie, so I am filling in as best I can so that Laurie can focus on an amazing mastermind she's in today. But welcome, welcome. Jay's just been sharing, and I'm curious. I know you just joined us, Rob, so I'm going to give you a pass on this. But what 3 C's did Jay share with us in such a short period of time? What were the 3 C's that came up for you? You can drop it in the chat. Hey, Umak, great to see you. Did you have anything you wanted to share? Are you in a place to do so?
Yeah, well, I will be doing, try to do my spontaneous speech next week. So indeed, I'm one of those who's positively excited about that, I guess. I haven't shared this, but like last week I have had an opportunity to give a not very long, but like a 5 minute speech somewhere about similar topic. And actually, it was interesting. Both it went both well, but also there was a little bit of you learn from every experience, I guess. So there was a little bit of too much of an engagement from the audience because it was a topic that people were very excited about, I think. So there was a little bit of kind of dialogue, but heated dialogue at some point. So I was like, okay, I hope I haven't shown how angry I got at some point because the person that I was having dialogue with was at some point giving like wrong information, and it was exactly what I didn't want that to happen at that point in that environment. So that was a very good lesson. And I took a note to myself how to react in this type of situation next time. So yeah, that's from me.
Okay, so it was a little bit difficult to hear you, but just so I'm kind of clear, so you had a chance to speak, and whilst you were speaking, you had some engagement from the audience that was difficult, and you managed it in a way, but you could maybe have done it better. Was that the?
Yes, exactly. But
Okay.
I actually checked with a few people how much color I have shown at that moment. Probably I shown less than I felt, but like it's good also to be prepared in these kind of situations. Like have a bit of a few things in your mind, how to react, how to cover up, and all these I think practices I guess gives you these type of tools that next time probably I already know, oh okay, I will get back to you about this or something, just to it gets it as you practice it gets probably easier. That's what I want to say.
Yeah. And who else has had this experience where you maybe did a talk, maybe it was a small talk, a presentation, maybe it was a big talk, and things didn't go the way you wanted and you got the wrong kind of engagement? Anyone had this? Yeah. And so what do we do? You know, our preparation is our superpower when we're actually speaking. And one of the principles that I've picked up doing this course is that you use what you've got. And you know, whatever anybody says at any time, as a storyteller, there's a way for you to turn that into a great story or a great lesson. So, I mean, in this instance for you, Irmak, I don't know what this person's issue was, but certainly the way that you dealt with it and the way you might deal with it in the future is going to add more weight. Because if you can bring it back into what is your story about, what is the transformation that you want for people, we can use any of these gifts. Any of you have been in the Tony Robbins environment. Tony talks about the train in the background when he's at the training camp, and instead of everybody getting frustrated, Tony turns the train turning up into a celebration. So, and he's very good at doing that. So I think Tony's a great model in how we can turn a tough situation into our advantage by making sure that we manage our emotions and managing the frame, because when it's our stage, we're always managing the frame. Yeah. So beautiful share, Imak. Really appreciate that. Just going back into the chat now. So let's go back to Jay's share. Credibility, coolness, character, community, coolness, credibility, community. Yeah, fantastic. So what was the credibility that Jay used? Anybody? You can just Marie, did you want to share something specifically?
Actually, I wanted to ask you, I was just following the topic you're saying about having difficulty in the speech. And I remember one class you were sharing this Harvard study that you could turn the fear into excitement, I
That's
think.
right.
And I wondered if you had an example.
So the example in the Harvard study would be the fact that they took people and they wanted to make them do a karaoke. Now, who loves karaoke? It's the second greatest fear in people after public speaking. But I myself love karaoke. But so they took people who did not love karaoke, like most people, and they said, well, we want you to do this experiment and we're going to get you to perform this song. So there's a lot of weight in this where you've got to perform this karaoke song. So people are going in there, and some of them that are in the control group, they are unprepared and they're going in there. And within the karaoke machine, obviously you don't love karaoke, so maybe you don't have your own karaoke machine, but you will get notes for the performance. And those are the notes you should hit. So if I sang, "Hit me, baby, one more time," that wouldn't be good on the score, right? I got a lot of those notes wrong. And so they were able to mark how good the performance was. For the people who were in the test group, they said, I want you to focus on being excited about your performance. And so they got people to say out loud, I'm excited about my performance. I'm excited about my performance. And they got about a 60% increase in the score as was measured on the number of notes they hit, because by being excited about the performance, they were able to stay in their prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that gives us all of our skills and confidence and all of the great things, instead of I'm nervous, I'm anxious, I'm unprepared, I'm scared, which will put us back into our reptilian brain and our fight or flight mode, where we have less capability and we sound like this. Because the parts of the brain that are nervous are very close to the parts of the brain that carry excitement. So it's easy to go from a state of nerves to excitement because they're both high energy states. Whenever you felt scared, did you feel high energy or low energy? Like, well, for a lot of people, it's high. It's like it's a nervous energy. Like if I'm depressed or sad, that's a low energy. If I was sad and somebody told me to calm down, that's pretty easy. But if I'm nervous and someone says, you just need to calm down, Luke, it's like, how am I supposed to, like, I'm too high energy. Going from nervous to excited, super easy though. For me, I've been using this consistently since I learned this. So even when I was back in corporate, if I was doing like a global conference and I was sharing, the marketing plan for the next 3 years, I would literally go for a walk down by the canal where I live, and I would say out loud, like Tony does with incantation, I'm excited about my presentation. I'm excited. I'm calm. I'm confident. I'm rehearsed. I'm excited about my presentation. And I would do an incantation around it, whatever the presentation was. And I would literally get myself into such a state. And I use this all the time now. I'm excited about my presentation. And then when I went on stage, because I was in that state, I can access that state and I can stay in my prefrontal cortex. I can tell my stories and I can have a great experience and even enjoy it. Jay.
Yeah, I just want to comment on that because I think, I don't know, but I think biochemically, what's happening in your body as far as like all the hormones that are released and the adrenaline and all that, and how you're feeling inside is the same. The only difference is what a meaning we're attached to it. So it's like sitting on a roller coaster, right? I used to hate them. Like as soon as that thing got locked in, I'm like, oh, and it was like the worst feeling in the world. I'm gonna die, right? And then of course after that,
I'm gonna die.
yeah, after that first bump, then I'm like, oh, it's the greatest thing in the world. But even still, I would always have that fear thing on the roller coaster. But yeah, and so the only difference is if are you viewing it as something that's going to cause death, or are you viewing it as the greatest thing in the world?
Absolutely. And the way that the human brain works is it is there to keep us safe. It's not to make us fulfilled, it's not to make us happy, it's not to make us great speakers. It's there to keep us safe. So we have to, as you rightly say, Joe, we got to decide what's the meaning we're going to attach to this. Now, every single one of you, whether it's next week or in 5 weeks' time, is going to be taking the stage. And I would encourage you, however you feel about it, to enjoy the process. A little bit like an examination. If you ever did an examination at school, and I'm old enough that we did examinations at school, when you stood outside is where the peak of the nervousness is, but it's also where the maximum amount of skill is. Done all the work. This is doing the work in advance. Will Smith talks about skydiving, and he says the greatest fear is right before the moment of greatest desire. And your greatest desire is always on the other side of your greatest fear. So it's completely natural that if you want to become an amazing world-class public speaker, there is probably going to be a little bit of fear on the journey, right? And that is a symbol of success. Cool. So yeah, just going back to yours, Jay, I think you said, so I was invited to speak this weekend. Like, there's a great credibility statement, isn't it? I was invited to speak. I didn't get to speak. I didn't win a gig. I got invited to speak. I'm the kind of guy that gets invited to speak. So there's some credibility and there's some coolness in there, for me. You also talked about your uncle, who is your favorite person in the world. And you said he had, what was his condition?
Down syndrome.
Down syndrome. Yeah. So what kind of guy respects and loves his cousin who has a condition, and he talks about him when he gets the opportunity to speak? There's a lot of coolness in that, and your community as well. So like, Couple of sentences, ticked all the boxes. Beautiful job, Jay. Really appreciate it. I just want to add one more thing on the excitement nerves paradox. Whenever we speak, the temptation is, okay, here I go. I'm going to do my speech. And we're so kind of nervous and we just want to go, bleh. But, you know, when you take the stage, you're not taking the stage, you're taking your stage. And give yourself a moment to just settle in. Take a look at the crowd, whether that's a virtual crowd or whether that is a in-person crowd, and just ground yourself. And people always say, take a deep breath, but there is a specific type of breath that will actually lower your heart rate. It's called a physiological sigh. And it's basically 2 inhales and 1 long exhale through the nose. And it sounds a little bit like this. Do it now. 2 short inhales through the nose, 1 long exhale, and you will feel calmer because it's physically lowering your heart rate. And again, this is a practice for me. Anytime I speak on any stage, virtual or in person, I literally stop, do my physiological sigh, and then I start when I'm ready. So I would encourage all of you to own your stage and speak when you're ready, because it will also give some more anticipation from your audience about how incredible your speech is going to be. Now, does anyone else have something they want to win or celebrate? We've heard from Irmak, we've heard from Jay. Anyone else got something that they want to celebrate and just tell us about it? Something we can celebrate? No? I thought I was in a room of public speakers. Oh, go ahead, Debbie.
Okay. So last week was a very nerve-breaking week because it was the farewell party of my husband, of his work. He's officially retired now, and that's really something like, retired? What is retired? And then people tell me, it's sleeping, doing whatever you want to do, whatever you feel like. Like, okay, but you have to get used to it, that you don't have to do what you're supposed to do. So that's a crazy thing. And the next day, I had the bonus call with Laurie. And I had to do, right before the farewell party, I had to do the bonus call. And of course, it didn't work. So we talked to each other in the Zoom, and then Laurie said, I didn't get it. Oh, what now? You're going to do it now, right now. Are you serious? Yes. And I was, holy, no, but I did it. And she was satisfied, and she gave me some remarks. And after that, I was like, wow, that's all. For me, it was a win. Like, okay, she approved. I had to add something. And she touched me. She triggered me to go even deeper. And that was heavy. Yeah. But it was also a win because it was like, okay, I can let go. I can. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? That is so true, Debbie. Thank you for sharing that, because however we feel, you know, one of the things that can sometimes go through our mind is, what if? What if I forget my lines? What if I go blank? What if I don't have my script with me? What if I get a dry throat? What if? And I think what your story illustrates, Debbie, is that whatever if happens,
It's okay.
it's okay.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
And you always get the result.
Yeah. Yeah. And the more you're convenient with that, the more you're relaxed you get. Yeah. You accept it. Yeah. Yeah.
And what have we learned from what Debbie's just shared? Who's got something more from Debbie now? Like that. Maybe vulnerability. I'm curious, when Debbie was talking about not being able to connect with Laurie, what emotion did you feel when she was saying that? You can speak it out or you can drop it in the chat.
Frustration. Yeah.
That's exactly what I wrote. I wrote frustration.
Yeah. Mm.
I could feel her frustration. It made me feel frustrated.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, just go ahead.
No, I was reaffirmed in my technical art, which I don't have. Everything always goes wrong, no matter what I do. When they explain to me, push that button and it works. It doesn't. Not with me. Not with me. I have bad vibes with technical things. Really, I do. Yeah. So,
Now, Jay would probably say that's a story you're telling yourself.
yeah, but it's awful. It's awful, really.
Well, I tell myself the same story about tech.
And then? Does it help? No, because it happens again.
So
I need to find a 15-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You're right.
what's a powerful story we could tell ourselves about technology?
Are you?
I love technology, and technology loves me. Go ahead, Caroline.
Exactly.
We are tech savvy and it always works. Yes, absolutely. Beautiful, Rebecca. What were you going to say, Debbie?
No, my daughter was very proud that I understood ChatGPT. She was so surprised that I got it. I needed to know something, and I said very proudly, I looked it up. Really? Where? She said, on ChatGPT? You? Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes when we get frustrated, another little story we can tell ourselves is, I'm so adorable when it comes to technology.
Yeah.
Let's give ourselves a little bit of grace. Yeah. Because, as Jay said, the meaning we attach to it, when we get frustrated, oh, it's failing again. It always fails. I'm stressed and now I don't remember the more we can just appreciate and move forward. I'm just so adorable. I mean, I think somebody mentioned Nilsa had to do a speech without her document. And I bet you were saying to yourself, Nilsa, I'm so adorable when I lose my script.
Yeah.
Is that what's going on, Nilsa?
What I said to myself, this is a safe place, and these are people that are growing with me, and this is just part of the process. And I did it.
Yeah. And did it work out okay?
It worked out fine.
Yeah.
It's an experience like what we're talking about here. When you get to the greatest fear, and the other side is of the greatest desire.
Yeah. Beautiful. And I was talking with another client earlier about 6 human needs. Does everyone know Tony Robbins' 6 human needs? So we all love to think of growth as, oh, I did a degree and I read a book and I did some public speaker training and I'm just like exploding and I'm getting better. Is that the growth we normally get? Or is it I can't believe he did that. He took everything and now I have nothing. That's the growth where we really grow from, right? The tribulations of life are the things that give us our superpowers and the things that make us even more authentic speakers. So what if every challenge we had, we welcome it and we say, this is going to make a great story in one of my speeches. Like, you just shared, Debbie, like that small story might become one of your future speeches. So I want to encourage all of you to think whatever is going wrong, you think like, this is going to make such a great speech. I'm going to write this in my story library and I'm going to remember it. And it's going to be epic. What were you going to say, Rebecca?
Well, I was going to say something else, but now that you've brought this up, you've brought me to another place. Yesterday, I was talking to my mom, and I just got back from Africa with her. And unfortunately, a bat got stuck in my bed netting and fell on me while I slept. So I jumped up, was really scared, had to get 4 rabies shot. It was this whole thing. And she was talking about the rabies shot and how she was sorry that I had to go through all that. But I said, Mom, this is going to be a great story because not very many people have bats that fall in them when they're sleeping. And now I can use this. And there's so many. I remember after it happened saying, well, I can go, wow, this is ridiculous. I don't like Africa and ruin the rest of my trip. Or I can say, well, this was a piece of the trip and now I get to explore what's next. So I can use that angle, and I can also use it I'm doing been invited to talk about feedback in performance reviews in a few weeks, and I thought I could use this as that the Four Seasons sent me, a request for feedback. And at first I wasn't going to fill it out because I just thought that was too much of a story to share. But then I thought, well, that's not fair because then they can't improve and not letting bats in their rooms and so forth. So I decided, I can use it from many different angles. And I think it's an interesting story to share. So
Yes.
just
Definitely, because we don't experience life, we experience the life we focus on. And you've got a great story there. I mean, what I love is you started with, I just came back from Africa. Like, wow, straight away. Pretty cool, right? And so, you guys are already starting to just frame everything in a way that is engaging and is starting to ask questions. I was saying to myself, why is she coming back from Africa? Like, what was she doing there? Is she on holiday? Is she working there? Is she a globetrotter? So remember, how we just introduce and just the way we use our words and our intentions can really start to create questions and engagement from our audience, even in these simple sentences. What part of Africa? Fantastic.
Kenya and Tanzania.
Fantastic. So let's work on our storytelling today then. So I want to share a talk, and normally we would split the room in terms of who wants to focus on what. And if you want to focus specifically on one area, that's okay. But I would really love us to think about the stories today. If you are more advanced or you feel like you want to challenge yourself, then maybe you want to go into how do we optimize delivery, But let's focus on, I think everybody is good with the aim. So let's go on the focusing of the stories. Everybody good with that? Let me just check I've got nobody waiting. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Okay, so whose talk shall we watch today? Who's a good storyteller? Let me take a look. Let me share my screen. And then I'm just going to move it over. Oh my God, it's Nilsa. I hope this is okay, Nilsa. And this is the exact story that we were talking about, where Nilsa felt a little underprepared, maybe, because, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Nilsa, but you were working in a different part of the house and you didn't have your script and you didn't have time to print your script. And this was a pretty fresh new talk for you anyway, and you just went with it. Is that right?
I was traveling to the British Virgin Islands. So I didn't bring anything, and I couldn't print. I had my laptop, but I couldn't print. And then I said, if I start reading with this Zoom, I said, you know what? Let me just do. I understand the framework, and then let me just go for it.
Yeah, beautiful. You just went with it, and you just enjoyed the process.
Exactly, but there was a little preparation with Lori before that, so there was. Okay, let's watch and let's see how I haven't rewatched it, so let's see how.
Okay, so for you, Nilsa, maybe for you, it's like, how could I make this even better? Because there's going to be so much that's great about it. But for you watching it yourself, it'd be interesting to see how you feel. For everybody else, let's focus on the stories that Nilsa tells and what's great about them in the context of this amazing speech. Just let me know if you can hear it.
Go give it up for Nilsa. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Lori. The decision to challenge our thinking sparks creativity, and that's how businesses are built. The feeling so powerful, so profound when we make the decision to invest in ourselves. It's preparing us to serve others, and that's how we become leaders in our industry. And then suddenly, one day you decide to show up differently in your life. Everything that's routine and familiar is done with a high performance attitude. And that's how we start creating transformation and impact. So basically, we're challenging our thinking, we're investing in ourselves and we're showing up different in our life and everything starts changing. Can you relate to that? Can you think about some experience, some moments in your life that you have shown up in the world like that? Well, that happened to me a few weeks ago. I made a decision because yes, there is a power in decision making to go to Charleston, to meet up with Barry Baumgartner and 29 other entrepreneurs, to dial in our message and our offer, because we are on track with Barry to launch our first virtual event. Now, as I'm preparing to leave my home, packing and getting ready to go to the airport, there's a dialogue in my head. The fear factor kicks right in, and this is going loud and fast, and my own inner self is talking to me, reminding me that I am flying to Charleston to meet with Barry. And reality is to serve others. I have a skill set that I want to share with the world so people can start changing their financial identity. So when I show up in Charleston, I have to play full out. I cannot be hiding behind my laptop, taking notes and thinking that I want to ask a question, thinking that I'm going to participate, but I do not. So this time it has to be different. It's going to be different. I am challenging my thinking. I know that this is to serve others, so I need to show up differently. As I get to the airport and pass through security, I said to myself, the story and the energy starts now. I get on the plane. This is something very familiar for me. I've been traveling for many, many years. Put my suitcase up on the compartment. I sit down and I start scanning the plane. There must be a story here, because I also knew that 2 weeks from that event, I was going to be here delivering a keynote to all of you. And I wanted to gift you with a transformation. So I'm scanning. People are coming through, the pets, the children. And across the aisle from my seat, there's a lady drinking red wine. And I said to myself, that is, for me, that is a headache. That is a story I do not want to share or live. So as I tilt my head to my seat, in front of me is the entertainment center. And here comes what's familiar, what's routine. I can pull my laptop out, start working on a spreadsheet, and watch Dunstan Checks In. And yes, that is a movie from the beginning of the year 2000. It's hilarious. It's about a chimpanzee who visits a 5-star hotels and all his adventures and mischievousness. Or I could do something different, because I need to do something different. My energies are high. I'm in a different, I have momentum right now. I'm going to Charleston. I press the button. I hit the button on the new releases, and there it was. The Delta CEO, Ed Bastian, with his keynote on the celebrating 100 years of flight. And I said to myself, wow, what an opportunity to see how these corporations and these CEOs present their keynotes. I want to see how they open. So I said, I'll watch it for a few minutes and then I'll pull out my laptop. But as I start watching, an hour and 24 minutes later, I'm still engaged with the message, because it's not only about the history of the company, it's about the next 100 years of innovation. And that just sparked all this energy inside of me. And I said, this is the story that I want to share with all of you. So as I went through this keynote, I said to myself, what are the learning? What did I learn here? What kept me so engaged? And I guess the first one, the question I started asking myself, and this is the question I want to ask you, how do the next 100 years look like in your industry? What's the innovation that you see today that's going to happen 100 years from now? And how can you today embed your zone of genius, your skill set into your industry today? So 100 years from now, people are building on the things that you have created today. And that's how we create transformation in the world.
Wow. Amazing. If you haven't seen that before, that is just so good. If you've seen, I've seen it a couple of times and I still get chills when I listen to that, Nilsa. So powerful. So how did everyone feel watching that? How did it feel for you watching again, Neil? So let's start there.
Well, definitely there was a lot of energy in that in that speech. Yeah, I was in it. I was in it and I didn't memorize it, so it was just it was flowing as I remembered the framework that I created. So if I would take what I wrote, what I probably would have read from my computer if I had the paper, the word, the essence was there, the aim was there, the teaching points were there, but the word for word were not there. And there was times that the whole I couldn't even pronounce the words well, but I just kept going because that's okay.
Yeah. How did everyone else feel watching it? Who wants to share how they felt watching it? Carolyn.
I liked it even better because I know more. So I see it differently than when the first time I saw it. I didn't know so much like 8 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. Now I know more, so I can see and appreciate even more because I know more. Thank you, Nilsa.
Yeah, Jay.
Yeah, it was outstanding. And, I know, and my wife tells me this, that I'm much better when I'm off script and I'm just flowing. And you were flowing. And what you think might have been pauses weren't long enough to be noticeable. And you were engaging, you were authentic. It was inspiring. So I was with it the whole time. So I don't know what the heck you were talking about before, as far as like the negative views you were having, or the like. I didn't see any of that. I didn't experience any of that. So, and you were definitely not hiding behind, because sometimes we can hide behind the notes, or, we. I think I wrote this for myself. It's like, are we going to give content, or are we going to give ourselves? And you gave yourself, and you knew the content well enough to flow with it. And I think that would come more powerful than if you followed that content and all your notes 100%. This was more powerful than if you presented your perfectly crafted, worded presentation. My view.
Yeah, I think that's such a great point, Jay. And I think for me, a script can sometimes be an invisible barrier between you and the audience because you're looking for what's next, whereas you were feeling what was next. And just being really present, who felt that, it was a different level of performance from Nielsa because she was just so present during that speech. Yeah, look at the room, Nielsa. Everybody's feeling your presence and your energy. Yeah, thanks for that share, Jay. Rebecca.
I loved the authenticity. You could feel your kindness and your vulnerability. And I actually, I don't know if anybody else does this, but last night I woke up in the middle of the night and started having doubts about what have I done? Why did I jump? Am I ready for this? Am I going to do this? And it was actually the perfect message for me today. So it was twofold. So thank you, Nilsa.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, absolutely, because it's a great example of how, however many times someone says to you, you got this, and however many times you say to yourself, I got this, sometimes the brain just wants to save us from what's on the other side of the fear, and your dreams and your desires on the other side of the fear. And I think Nielsa just really reminded us of that. We just keep going. And she made it even better. Like, I have no doubt that that performance is way better than any you could have given with a set of notes, Nielsa. Because I've seen you, present multiple times. And for me, this is the favorite. This is the one where you've just got so much energy, so much passion, authenticity. And it shows what's possible when we just trust ourselves. Beautiful. Thanks, Rebecca. Debbie.
I felt I was on that flight with you. I could feel it. And I wanted to come along with you. That's all. I was like, oh, this is so exciting. Help me. I want to be with you. Yeah, it was so exciting. Such a, yeah, fantastic. Just a great feeling. Yeah.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah, of course you can, Jay.
the connection. So I was connected with you.
Yep.
But because of that connection, I learned something. And when you talked about the next idea, the innovation here that's going to set the thing for 100 years ago, because of that connection, when you spoke that, like, I learned something in that moment.
Yep.
And I was inspired, but it was that, being connected with you opened up the channels for me to learn something.
Yeah, beautiful. Great observation, Jay.
But yeah, it was also like you said before, Tony Robbins getting you into a state. She got us into a state. At least me. I was like, oh yes, that feeling. And Jay, connection. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
She really did. Yeah, she really did.
Mari's asking me about the aim. The aim was when
Well,
you.
just
Okay,
one
go
second,
ahead.
Ilse,
Okay.
because I'm curious. It's a great question, Mary, and I'm curious. What do you think was Niels's aim?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Mary? What do you think Niels's aim
Oh,
was? From what you heard already, what do you
okay.
think the aim was?
I, the aim was to challenge your thinking, the power of decision making. That I think that was her aim. I'm not sure. I mean, I think that was it for me. That was for me. What was it, Nielsa?
Well, thank you for sharing, Marie.
Sure.
Nielsa, what was your aim?
The aim is that there's so many rules in society that when we choose to show up and when we choose to think, and then when I heard this 100 years, when we choose to create today for the next 100 years, and then life changes. Doesn't matter what age you are or what season you're in, you have all this life experience and you could just put that to work now and just put that focus there. And that's just going to transform society. I mean, we all have this growth and contribution. And when you have the CEO talking about the next 100 years, he's looking at Delta for the next 100 years. So we could all look at our lives for the next 100 years. Doesn't matter if we're going to be here or not. We don't know that. Tomorrow they create another pill and we're around for 200 more years. We don't know that. So we have this opportunity and this decision to show up and just create. And I think for me, that's powerful. And I want to continue to develop that message in a way that just gets inside of everybody and says, you know what, I can do this and I'm going to do this. And then we're creating generational impact at the same time because our kids and our neighbors are watching what we're doing. And I think that's even more powerful.
Yeah.
When my daughters are seeing me getting on planes and going to Barry and going to Lori and going to Tony, like, oh my God, my mother's jumping on a chair in Tony Robbins. What is she thinking? I'm living. I'm creating for the next 100 years. And that's how I see it.
Debbie, go ahead.
Just one sentence. See life as a challenge. That's what I felt. Don't be afraid. Just do it. It's the same. Yeah.
Carolyn?
I think what Nelson was talking about is what sometimes I'm thinking about with my own thing, is we actually our biggest aim is we're creating legacy. And every one of us, I think, in a lot of our courses, if you really look at a little bit deeper, you'll realize that your change that you're trying to incorporate into your clients is actually legacy. It's their legacy, and it's actually why are we here? We're creating legacy.
Beautiful. And doesn't that just show that even though Nielsa had an aim, everyone's hearing it and framing it slightly different and applying it to what's important to them.
Yeah.
So Nielsa has an aim, we've got to think about what's the next 100 years look, what are our responsibilities, and what was yours, Jay? Yours was, no, hold on. Marie, yours was, it's about the power of decisions. That was your summary, wasn't it? It's about the power of decisions. And she said that early on. We'll get to stories in a minute. Jay, power of showing up. What's the power of showing up? How do you show up differently? She used those words. And so what's beautiful is we're all hearing what's important to us from her message, even though she's sharing multiple stories. What lands for us is the thing that's most important for us. Does everybody feel that? Yeah. Jay?
Uh, well, this is my biggest compliment because I find myself tapping into that well of living water inside me that wants to give. And so, what was really inspiring is you didn't tell us about command us or instruct us or guide us into the next 100 years in legacy. You invited us.
Mhm.
And you didn't invite, like, you didn't even make a formal invitation, but the way you presented it invited. And so I just felt that invitation, and I felt like, yeah, I want to, yeah, I want to do something. I want to think, okay, I want to think 100 years ahead. What am I? And it came without you saying, so you really should be thinking 100 years ahead and making decisions that are gonna, none of that. But yeah, I just felt that invitation and that permission to like look at that in my own life and say, oh, wait a second. So anyway, that's beautiful.
Go ahead, Nilsa.
And one of the things about the keynote was we're so familiar. We're always doing things that are familiar. And I get on those planes constantly. And I do the same thing. The laptop, I love this monkey movie because it makes me laugh and I don't have to watch it. Or I watch Spotify, I listen to Spotify. But just because I made a decision that day to see a documentary, it shifted my mindset. With that energy, I got to Charleston. And when I got in, and before I got into the room to Charleston, I had to, in the room, I was doing exercise and doing all this stuff and cantations so I can show up and not go into the shell. So that was, I had to I had to make the power of decision making to prep myself to get into that room and to show up and to do the work so I can go to my next step.
Yeah.
But that was like challenging myself all the way through. I thought that was interesting. And be in this space where I can create something to share that experience. Because and then we forget about it and we go on to the next experience.
Yeah.
But because I'm here, I get to share it. And now it's recorded and now we're reviewing it. So now it came back. And now I'm in energy. So when I get off here, I'm going to start writing my next one for next week.
Anybody feel like we're getting a preview of the next one? And Nilsa's energy and her enthusiasm and her passion. And Jay, great observation. She gave us permission to think about legacy. That's a really beautiful way of phrasing it. It wasn't just an invitation, she was giving us permission. Anybody else feel like that Nilsa was giving us permission to think about this in our own lives? Yeah, that's a lot of impact, Nilsa. Okay, so thinking about the stories, because she told one story, two stories, three stories. How many stories did she tell? How many stories did people get? Isn't that great that you have to think about it, because she just blended them so seamlessly that you got to think about, well, it was just the story about the airplane. No, wait, because it was the other. What was the other? So what did we get? Who wants to talk about one story that she shared and what was great about that story? Debbie.
Going to Barry Baumgartner, going there because I was there too. I saw her, yeah. But and I could hear her like, yeah, but this time, I have to show up differently. And I was like, oh yeah, yeah. That made an impression on me. Yeah. I could feel her, like, oh, yeah. And you did. You show up differently. It worked. Yeah. Because then you saw the documentary of the CEO of what was it? Delta Airlines or something?
Yeah, Delta.
Yeah.
And so what was the teaching point there, Debbie? What do you think?
The teaching point is that how do you say that? So you're nervous about going to Bari and like, oh, am I going to get it this time? And then suddenly, out of nowhere, first you're talking about what was it, the monkey? And then suddenly there's no such thing as a coincidence, eh? And suddenly you click on something and there's this documentary. And suddenly it clicks with you as well. And you know what you're gonna do at Barry's. You know it. You know it. But not with the intent. No, you clicked on that button. I mean, I love that. That what happened suddenly. Yeah. It was, at least it was it for me. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was definitely one of the stories. And when we listen to Debbie retell the story, what Debbie's doing is, what did the story mean for her? So like what I noticed, Debbie's adding a couple of other things. I just pushed the button. I just went for it. Maybe those weren't phrases that Nielsen used, but when you retell the story for yourself, it's now a story for you, Debbie. Even though it's Nielsen's story, now it becomes your story.
Yeah.
Because you're applying what it means to you. So when we tell a story, we're creating a story in the mind of our audience as well that can go in so many directions. Thank you for sharing that, Debbie. Rebecca.
That's a good point. You know, and that's what I learned this weekend was, you know, when doing the story, and when they're recalling what it said to them and things like that, it's like, well, I didn't exactly say that in that way, but what they heard or how they applied it to their life was maybe a little different wording than what I had given. Yeah. So I guess that's the power of our storytelling.
Absolutely is. And the thing is, great observation, Jay, because the thing is, Nielsa forgot her script. Now, she knew the experience because she lived it, and she's talking about her lived experience. And has she written it in beautiful language and knowing exactly where to put the engagement and all this because she's done the course and she did it perfect. And then suddenly it went, and she still told a story that had the same aim and the same essence and the same teaching points, even though she didn't follow the script. And she was able to create another beautiful story within Debbie, and just like you did with all those people who listened to you at the weekend. So great observation, Jay. Rebecca.
I thought it was genius the way she transitioned from one story to the other, by explaining the power of choice, because she talked about how she turned one way and looked and saw the glass of wine, and to me that would be the easy choice as well, and decided against that, and then talked about the chimpanzee movie being her second choice, and then how she chose a more challenging choice for her to be a new her, to step into something different. So it was a very seamless transition and very relatable.
Yeah, definitely. She put all these little stories in, didn't she? And what do you think was the teaching point under all those little stories together, Rebecca?
For me, it was the example of what your choices are, and if you are wanting more and you want to show up differently, how changing those choices and behaviors make all the difference in the world. That's how I interpret it.
Yeah, and there were small stories, but I mean, just for me, what I got was that she was bringing awareness to these small things we don't notice in life that are actually defining our destiny. When we aren't paying attention to what's going on, we go on autopilot. And I don't think she used that phrase, but she just said the easy choice, the familiar choice, is to just do what we always do. Like when you're driving home, you're like, well, how did I get home? I wanted to go to the pet store and I completely forgot. And how often do we do that through life? So I think she was bringing our attention to how sometimes we don't have an awareness of the choices we're making. We're always choosing, but we're not choosing consciously. And I see you have some comments in the chat there, Mary. These are all the stories that you got?
Yeah, just a few, you know. I
Yeah.
just wasn't going to write everything. You said, what are the stories? So I just started to type them.
Yeah, and it was great how she did it, wasn't it? Like it felt like one story, but it was actually a lot of stories.
Yeah. It's like she's moving you from where she's packing her bag to going, then this and that and the other.
Yeah, Carolyn, did you have any comments?
I love, you know what? I love that Mara wrote all these stories down. How clever. What a clever girl you are. I went, I love that. But that's what she does, doesn't she? We all have our thing. I really appreciated it. I really did. I went, damn.
Well, we have so many soups.
I like to say, damn.
And this is the thing, because we sometimes think, okay, I'm going to use 3 stories from my life. Now, Nielsen took one story from her life, but she wove a number of other little stories into it. So anyone who's thinking, I mean, I was having a conversation with Rob. I don't know whether you're there or whether you're distracted right now, Rob, but, you know, Rob was saying he has a ton of stories, and all of them would make an amazing speech on their own, just like you guys. You all have a ton of stories. So I think what Neil's just shown us here is that even though we have all these amazing stories, we can pull small pieces out to make another story even more compelling and moving and transformational. So she really did a great job of pulling little pieces in and weaving it into one big story. Irmak or Rob, do you have any other comments on that? Hey, Irmak. Oh, you struggling to unmute?
Yes,
Yeah.
no, I'm here. No, actually, I mean, I don't have anything to add, but I was really enjoying the discussion, definitely, and I'm so proud of the group, and it's just, yeah, I hope I will be able to share at a level that the rest of the team is doing at the moment.
Yeah, you absolutely will, because you're next week, aren't you, Irmak?
Yeah, I am.
Cool. Well, you missed the beginning of the call where we were talking about, is anyone feeling a little nervous? And if that's okay, how are you feeling about things?
Definitely, possibly excited. I'm gonna do a little bit of free fall. I'm not gonna have a lot of time to prepare. Like kind of. Of course, I will think of how I'm going, what I'm talking about, but maybe not every transition and etc. So I will see how that will flow at the time. I hope I hope it will all go well. Um, yeah, it's a lot of emotions. My story will be a bit emotional, so that's also something I guess for me it's going to be indeed healing as we talk about. So uh, let's see.
Yeah. And who else can feel Irmak's heart right now? You know, just from us talking and sharing, I mean, really honest and vulnerable, just how beautiful and transformational that can be. So sometimes we get caught, I mean, Neil says a beautiful talk and it's very exciting and it's roller coaster, but sometimes just vulnerable, authentic truth can be all we need to engage and transform an audience.
Zeker. Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, I'm going to be talking in a minute about the tech check, because one of the things we do when we have our talk, and those of you who have done it before, I think Ilsa and Marie, you've both done it before, haven't you? And Carolyn, you've done one before as well, haven't you? So you guys know that we do a tech check before the call, but sometimes what happens is, like half an hour before the call, it's like, I'm really not thinking about tech. I'm not thinking about technology loves me and I love technology. I'm not thinking about how adorable I am. I'm thinking about my freaking script. So what we've done now is we've actually added into the background in your portal. Laurie has done some amazing videos to show what the tech check looks like. Would you like me to share it with you?
Yeah.
So next time you are absolutely ready and you know exactly what it's going to look like. Would that be useful?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, let me just share. Okay, so this is in, let me just make this a little bit bigger. So you're going to come into your Academy portal. I'll just go back to the beginning. So you all have your community. Community. I literally just had it. Hang on. Well, within the Academy, you will see at the front page, even though I can't show it now, I love technology and technology loves me. It's okay. There is going to be a place called the Tech Check. And there is a video in there where you will see what you will see when you join the call. Now, in the tech chat, I might as well not share that anymore. Let me turn that off. When you come into the tech check, you're going to be available to come in from 2 o'clock, because we're going to be in the background and we're going to be getting ready and supporting one another and making sure that we're all there together and just going through the technology. What you will see is you'll come into the back of a platform called StreamYard. And StreamYard is a professional sharing process. And you will be in the background with Laurie and myself, and we're going to be hanging out. And you're going to be able to see Laurie on the main screen. And then Laurie is going to invite you onto the screen, and you're going to see yourself on the screen together as two people. And then Laurie's going to show you how she's going to introduce you with your amazing bio. And once she's done the introduction, Laurie's going to disappear and you're going to be on the screen and you're going to be presenting. And then as soon as you've finished, then you'll say, back to you, Laurie. And Laurie will know what your last line is. So if it's, and that's why I'm a billionaire, maybe that's your last line, then Laurie's going to know that's time. She's going to come on, she's going to say, wow, that's amazing, we celebrate. And then you're going to say how that felt, relieved, amazing, piece of cake, whatever it is for you. And then you're going to disappear off the screen and Laurie's going to introduce the next speaker. But within the back of the course, where we've got within the academy, and I will give you a screenshot afterwards when I get my system working again, you'll know where to go. It's called The Gig, and under The Gig, we got the tech check. So I want to encourage all of you to just watch that to remind yourself if you've done it before. And if you haven't done it before, then Debbie and Irmak, then have a look at that. And if you have any questions between now and next week, you can ask me or you can ask Laurie. And we want to make sure that you know exactly what you're doing so that your focus is just on shining bright like a diamond and giving an amazing talk. Any questions?
Not now.
Not now. Okay.
Just one thing though, like the bio and the photo and all of it is, as long as they are their last version the day before, I guess it's okay for Laura because she's gonna probably read it through, right?
Yeah, so you have your blueprint. You all have your blueprint, right? Everyone know where their blueprint is?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. So you can go in. If you change the title of your talk from how to have the greatest health of your life to why eating junk food sucks, that's okay. You can just change it in there. If you want to change your bio from I have 26 years of health and fitness to I love health and fitness and helping people reach their goals, you can change it to that. Whatever you want to do, Laurie will refer to that when we're in real time, but you don't want to leave it too late because you don't want to forget it. So then Laurie has to make it up. And although she knows every one of you amazing souls well enough to do a beautiful intro, it's great if it's the one you actually want.
Yeah.
And what we do need by now, though, is we do need your photo. So if you didn't upload a photo in there already or send a photo through, then we do need to have that before next week.
Okay.
Okay, beautiful, fantastic. Going back to Nilsa, how did she use the 3 C's? How did she talk about, what are the 3 C's? Do you want to put it in the chat, everybody? Who's fastest? Who's going to get 10 points? What are the 3 C's that we use? Rob, boom, there you go. 10 points coming to you, Rob. Community, credibility, and coolness. So how did Nilsa use these in her talk to engage us so that we know, like, and trust her? Like, obviously we had that incredible high voltage performance and the energy that she brought through the screen, which was incredible. But what about community, credibility, and coolness? Who has one of these that she brought in? Who wants to share? Come on, you guys are pros. I know Nilsa's dying to put her hand up, but she's being humble. I just know it. Carolyn, what did you see in terms of community?
I knew you were going to call on me.
No, because you're unmuted. Everyone else did the smart thing and took themselves off onto mute. So you were the only one with your microphone open. You didn't even see it.
No. I actually, when I was telling it, I was, okay, here, I found my notes. Hello, thank you very much. She was talking about the community of Barry. She was talking about the community of the Plain. So there were 2 communities that I heard of. There isn't anything that's not cool about Nelsa, so boom, boom. Credibility, she's challenging her thinking. She's thinking at the very beginning, she's talking about changing thinking and how she announces how she's going to show you how to. So I thought that was really credible. And then she did it. So that adds to credibility. That's all my notes.
That's
Somebody.
okay. It was good. Yeah, there was a lot in there, wasn't there? But you had to look for it. It wasn't like she's saying, so I was motorcycle trekking in the jungle, but she was explaining elements of her life and it was subtle.
Yeah.
When you were listening, it was like, okay, so what do we know about Nielsen? Who else had something different?
I think for credibility, the most powerful thing wasn't credibility as far as her connections and who she's working with. Her credibility was the power of her authenticity, the power of her being exactly who she is. That was what established her credibility. Like it was just like, that's who she is. There's no pretending, there's no fronting, there's no acting, there's no performing. She's just being herself. And that being herself was the power of her credibility.
Beautiful. I think you made an impact on her there, judging by her face then, Jay. Did you know that about yourself, Nilsa? You're on mute. I love technology.
Not the way he explained it, but that was a very powerful gift that Jay just gave me this morning. Very nice. Thank you.
Yeah, and this is
I mean, there's this thing inside of me that I need to bring it out, and it has to do with this gift that we have of living this amazing world and getting to now with technology, connecting with people from all over and learning from each other. That even increases the level of contributions that we can make. Because before it was in our little communities that we were helping. Now it's like a global thing. That's something we say in this room today can go all over the world. I mean, I don't know where some of these people are from, but just think about it. You're from England, right? You're in England, and Debbie's in Holland, and some of the rest are in the United States, but just it's amazing. I think Emak is from Turkey.
Yeah.
So look at this. The things that we're saying in this group, it's going to be transported into other parts of the world. And that's true impact and transformation right there.
Yeah, and I love Nilsa how everything you're saying now sounds like it's it's part of your speech, and this is really where we're going on the journey, so that whenever, if it's just in a group like this or whether it's on a global stage, you want to always be ready to show up in this way, and it feels to me, I don't know, anybody else feel like the Nilsa that I watched on the video is the same Nilsa as I've got here. It's like, it's not like she did a performance. It was a great performance, but like there she is, and she is congruent and consistent with what I saw on there. And that, I mean, this is a testament to Nilsa puts the work in, and you can feel how passionate she is and excited, and she's taken everything she's learned and she's amplifying it. And now we see less there's less like, oh, there's Nilsa doing her presentation and there's Nilsa just on the call. And, we see that consistency. That's where we want to get to, is that we show up and we present because it's who we are. And that's where all of you are going to get to. Once we get over that fear, and then on the other side is, oh my God, I'm an amazing world-class speaker, and this is how I show up now. Marie.
Oh, and there's always fear, so don't think there's no fear. The fear is always there. But now I'm not going to blow it out. I'm just going to go excitement. I can do this.
I was just going to say, did you say excitement, Nilsa?
Yes.
Marie.
So I remember Lori always talks about credibility, community, and coolness. And the credibility is who you are, what you do, whatever. But in this case, I would say, if you want to say, sorry, my dog here. the coolness, the credibility would be who you're surrounding yourself. You're going to a group of, you're going to learn. But the way she set the speech, the credibility was not needed because there was a universal thing that we all want is, can we be brave and courageous to do what we want to do? You know what I mean? So it was like, even if she didn't say, it's like, yeah, I relate to this woman because I want to do something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. And I was fascinated. I mean, after her speech, I went to Delta and looked at the 100, Nielsen. I was looking for that speech. But so that was my piece, community, yes. Then she's talking about the community and the coolness, of course. She's not just flying in a regular seat, she's a little bit in front, people just don't get wine anywhere, that kind of stuff. So it's that all that coolness too.
Yeah, definitely. And when I think about it, there is a lot of evidence of the credibility, coolness, and community in there, but it's kind of assumed almost because she's in her bedroom and she's packing a suitcase. Okay, she's going so. This is somebody who travels a lot. So somebody who travels a lot, like where is she traveling to? Does she have people all over the world? Like there's a lot of unanswered questions in the way she just gives us these small morsels of the life that she lives. And then she's going to see a mastermind. So she's in the company of people who want to invest in themselves and are prepared to invest time, money, and geographic flexibility to be able to be a part of that community. So we got community and coolness there as well. And if she's going to these big global events with speakers that you've mentioned, then is there a degree of credibility in that? Because she's willing to always be pushing herself forward. She's investing in herself. She doesn't say, I'm going to do this job and I'm a very expensive consultant. She says, I'm going to join to get even better, to push myself forward, to take myself to the next level. Now, is she in first class? We don't know. She could have been. But if you're the sort of person that travels for first class, you're probably going to put her in first class because she doesn't say it one way or the other. So she's very good at specificity in some areas and vagueness in others so that we can put the piece together. And I think that's what Nielsa does really, really well. She flexes her specificity into micro detail, but then big picture at the same time. And it's a really lovely way so that we get different levels of detail as she takes us through the transformation. She's writing that down. She's like, oh, I didn't know. So here's a question. This is a tough question. So this might be unfair, but please forgive me. I would love to hear from that incredible speech that Nielsa gave, what could be even better if? What could Nielsa do even better next time? And it's tough, but I want you to think about this because wherever you are in your journey, whether you're speaking next week or whether you're speaking in 4 weeks' time, 5 weeks' time, I want you to start looking at this through the lens of how could mine be even better? Now, some of you might be unformed so far and there's more work to do, but you will have a speech and some stories. So when we look at Nielsa's brilliant performance and we say, how could Nielsa make it even better? We're also giving ourselves the gift of thinking, how could I already make mine better? Jay.
So, Already said she connected us and she gave us permission. If she just, and I don't know where she would put it in, but just encourage us that we have it already in terms of asking a question. So what is your 100-year legacy idea? Or what is your, what is, yeah, and just had some kind of question that got all this, that then gave us not only just permission to dream about a 100-year legacy, but then with that question, like it's already inside you. So what is so what is that legacy idea that's already inside you? Or something like that.
Yeah, so how could any of us use a very relevant and searching question in our own presentations? And that's for everyone, myself included as well. I'm thinking like, it's a great point, Jay. What's a really powerful question I can ask to summarize my talk or your talk or Niels's talk? Carolyn.
I was thinking, Jay's right on. I think that there was an invitation and it was a bit subtle, maybe not so much, but I think a very elegant invitation, because that's Nelson's style. Very elegant invitation to join her in the journey of legacy. I'm on the thing of the legacy. She really inferred it, but I think maybe a little more directness. And what's your legacy? What's your children's legacy? What I think that's compelling.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because sometimes we don't always think about this until we look in retrospect, which is where Nielsen is now. I think, oh, that's a great point. But what do we want to make overt and what do we want to make covert? What do we want to really bring out and what do we want to subtly bring in? And how can we all use that within our stories to bring the invisible to be visible and keep sometimes the visible more invisible? Carolyn.
I'm just brainstorming here. I think that everybody here, I think all of us, why are we here? Why are we doing this? This is hard. This takes time, money, energy. It takes your brains. I think there's a commonality. Everybody, I keep bringing this word up, but it's true. We're all looking for legacy, and we're all promoting legacy, and we're all offering legacy. And maybe we should be less subtle about it. That's just banging down in my head. I don't know. Thank you.
I look forward to seeing that in your next presentation, your next speech. Mary.
I will. Thank you.
Beautiful. Because we're all giving advice and support, but we're also coaching ourselves. That's what's the beauty of this community with so many talented people in it. Mary.
I'm just speaking from my experience and my work. So a client comes to me and says, I want you to do a commercial, and it's 30 seconds. And I say, what is the main point you want the client to say so that the audience has it crystal clear in 30 seconds? So I realized that punching it or making it really obvious in the beginning, and I'm not saying, Nilsa, you did this, okay? But what I'm saying is, can we make whatever speech we're going to say so clear that when you're done, the audience got what your aim, That is the most important thing. And the hardest is when you do it shorter, because it's easy to run your mouth, but it's harder to say it in a few seconds. So all these tactics about engaging the audience and telling stories, all those things knit together. But can you engage the audience since the beginning with that word or that aim, and then you reinforce it at the end? So they call them bookends too in film.
Jay's just put, sorry, this letter is so long, I didn't have time to make it shorter. Yeah, I forget who the quote was. Was it, I want to say Ernest Wilde, is that right? Whoever it was, yeah, maybe it was Mark Twain. But yeah, how do we be intentional about what the point is? And so maybe we begin with the end in mind, as Stephen Covey says. How would it feel if you made a different decision every day for 100 days? What about 100 weeks? What about 100 years?
Right.
Maybe that's the summary. And if she started with that, and I'm going to say it's the right thing, Lil, so we're all just brainstorming, but right. What about if we could summarize our entire talk of 12 minutes into 30 seconds with a powerful question to create intrigue and open the part of the brain that is looking for the information, and it's an open loop because people want to know the answer to it.
Right. So just visually, I can give you an example that I started my documentary with a visual of a labyrinth, and a little boy was coming into the labyrinth. That's a metaphor of all the twists and turns of life. And I went to Venice to film it. And I ended it with a person leaving. Now, this is just visual, you know, I'm just giving you a visual. How can you do that in words? You know, with, so is the person coming into life and they're having problems and now they have finished and they're out and they solve their problems, whatever. So each person to their own story, but it's really helpful to have the end in mind, because then you have so much that you want to say and you're missing the aim, like Lori says, or the point that you really want to convey.
Yeah.
That's all.
Beautiful. Debbie, you look pensive. What are you thinking? Oh, you're still on mute. You're still on mute.
Before I came here, I was thinking about the end, about, I know the beginning. I even know the sentence where to start with. I know that it's okay, and then the end, because the end is like what Mary says, like it has to, there has to be this full circle. So I'm in here, I'm busy doing the full circle. Like, is that correct? No, am I just, no, So I'm doing magic. I'm trying to, I don't know, I'm still, thank God it's still a week, That's what I'm thinking. Thank God it's still a week. Because the ideas with me, they pop up like nowhere. Like suddenly I see something, I read something, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that's it. That's it. That's how it works with me. I'm a visual thinker, so I react to what's happening around me, what I see. Yeah, that's what I do. Not words, but I see. Yeah, yeah.
Just before Rob drops off, don't forget, Rob, we're going to do a video. We're going to share it in the group. What's it going to say? Who can tell me what the first thing we're going to do in the video is?
Video.
Huh?
Here.
It's going to be what's an insight that we had from today's call? What's the insight that we have, our biggest insight? What's the second thing we're going to talk about? I can't hear you, Nilsa.
What actions are we taking for the next week?
What actions are we going to take for the next week? And what's the third thing we're going to put in our video?
Who are we grateful for?
Who are we grateful for? So Rob, Rebecca, thank you so much for joining. We've gone right up to the wire, so thank you so much for joining. And any last thoughts from anybody else before we bring this amazing session to a close? Thank you so much for your patience and your grace in letting me take over from the amazing Laurie. I could never replace her, but I hope that I can be a good substitute.
You were awesome.
Awesome.
Awesome sauce. Awesome sauce.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, perfect. Any final thoughts? Are we all good to go back into the world and create change and transformation? Beautiful. I will see all of you next week. Have an amazing week and celebrate your wins.